This is Sergio with the Rideshare Guy. Today I'm interviewing Boti, who is an Uber X and Lyft driver in Chicago. We're going to find out what makes him so successful today, because I did an article on him about a week ago. And from what I know, he's the highest paid or highest earning Uber X driver in the country. He doesn't do the higher platforms to get to these earnings. And all we need to do is understand from successful drivers why they are successful, how they improve their games, and how they figured this gig out. So with all that said, Boti, you have the floor. Introduce yourself and we'll get going.
Good morning. Good morning, Sergio. Good morning, guys. My name is Boti. I am an immigrant like many of you guys. I've been here since 1986, so I have been here since just a little bit over age 9. And why did I start Uber? Well, since I very first time started going into the workforce as a career or a job, I was always in retail. And one of the things that we all know in retail is that we always have to work holidays. We have to work Labor Day, Memorial Day. There's all kinds of sales all the time. And for 20 plus years working holidays, you kind of get lonely where you see your friends going out camping, picnicking, and you can't participate. Or if you do participate, you're already worn out from a long day's worth of work. So I got married. My wife is a teacher and she has really good days off. And I'm like, you know what? Why not just join her and try to do that? So we try to take off most holidays and actually most of the summer. We do a lot of traveling. We do go all around the world and then also around the country. So what attracted me to Uber is the freedom. And so I did a little dry run. I was in automobile sales for 9 years. And right before I kind of was about to hang it up in sales, I joined Uber and I went out on my lunch break and I'm like, let me see what I can do. And here, I made I think like maybe 20, $30. But I was gone for a couple of hours. I'm like, okay, so the business is available. It is out there. It is fluid. Um, I'm gonna just have to go home and see if I'm ready to make that move because it's a big move, especially if you're in a car business, automobile business. You build a lot of trust with a lot of customers, and you're not selling cars. You're helping people find what they need. You have that trust with them. So you're gonna give up everything that you worked for the last 9 years just so you get a little freedom, and it's a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And that's how I started going into Uber. And then that
So
was in
what?
August, and then September
Okay.
I called it quits. Go ahead,
Oh,
Sergio.
no, no, I was going to say, so what year was that? And since then, how many trips do you have under your belt?
Okay, so that was in August of 2018 is when I dibble dabbled with the Uber platform. I didn't join Lyft. I was thinking about it, but 2018 August, I downloaded the app and I did a couple of rides. In September 1st is when I actually hung it up and I went full-time Uber. And since then, I have, gosh, I want to say 15,200 trips. And those 15,200 trips, a lot of vacations inside of those. So, yeah.
So,
And
so you're a full-time driver, right?
full-time driver, 7 days a week. I work hard and I play hard. So instead of having weekends, I consolidate my weekends into long vacations.
Right. So obviously, a lot of people think rideshare is a very easy thing to do, right? I totally disagree with all those people because I don't think rideshare is easy at all. I think there is a very steep learning curve for drivers to be successful, but by the time they're learning, or some of them actually resist in learning, because that's why we try to do on the Show Me the Money, right? We inform and we educate, but a lot of them
Yes.
burn out and a lot of them quit before they even taste success, right?
Yes.
Obviously 2018, 19, 2020 with the pandemic, things are different, but
Yes.
I think the basic rules to success apply today. Yes, you may not be making as much money as you were making in 2020 or 2021, even
Absolutely.
2022, but but the basics apply. So what I want you to do as a veteran driver, I want you to talk a little bit about your starting point and your earnings, how they looked and what you did, and then how you became so successful. What did you do? Did you have a mentor? Did you go to Facebook groups, like a lot of people do to get information, or they come to channels like ours? But you have a little bit more of a unique background. So explain to drivers what you did to become so successful. How did you improve your game, actually?
So there's a couple of guys in the dealership that are currently Ubering, and one of them quit maybe a year prior to me, who signed me up for Uber. And at the time, Uber had a very nice, sweet promotion, and I was already thinking on how I can capitalize on that. So we came to an agreement with a friend of mine that signed me up that we split the sign up fee, and then in return, he's going to give me some pointers on what to do and where to go. Uh, so at the very first time, I live in the suburbs, about 20 miles outside of Chicago. We don't have the consistency like you do in the bigger cities. And I was driving 15 minutes for a 5-minute ride, and I'm doing the math. So I worked, 20 minutes and only got paid for 5 minutes of it. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. I can't do that. So my friend told me to go downtown, what areas to go to. And I just wanted to learn more and more. But, when he's also out there on the road Ubering, I felt like I was interrupting his job and annoying him. So I had to think, how do I go about, dialing it in and being very consistent. So I set up just realistic station goals. I wanted to do $100 a day. And when I say $100 a day, I'm not saying gross, I'm saying net. So that means that if I went out to the restaurant, a fast food, and I spent $6 on a Happy Meal or a menu at McDonald's for any fast food, and I put gas in there for $20, that means I need to make $126 plus the toll. So that's realistically how I set it. And then once I was consistently able to do that, I start keeping notes why I did it, why I made the money so fast, why it took me so long to make this money. And I started debriefing myself every single day I was finished. And later on, I came out to the realization that every day has its own profile. Every day has its own way of making money. Just because Monday I can make this money so quick doesn't mean I can make it on Tuesday or Wednesday. So now I had to dial it in. Instead of having a set number, let's say I want to make $100 every day, I will be like, maybe I'll make 100 today, I'll make 75 tomorrow, and so on. And what I mean by tomorrow is Monday 100, 75 Tuesday, 85 on Wednesday, 95 on Thursday, back to 100 on Friday. And when I was consistently able to hit those targets, I needed to grow. And what does everybody do when they want to grow is that you set up new goals. So I put 5% increase. So next Monday comes around, I need to make $105. And again, when I say make, I mean net. So because you don't want to be a charity where, we are not .org. We need to make money and pay our bills. So we gotta pay attention to that. So again, I set up the real expectation, and suddenly I was able to hit those numbers. And this is before having surges. I didn't understand surge. I didn't understand consecutive. I didn't understand quests. These were just base fares. And that had a lot to do with it. And then I started getting tips. And I'm like, why am I getting a tip from this guy? Why am I not getting a tip from that guy? So I started paying attention to every single time. If someone tipped me, why did they tip me? And there's a lot of moving parts when you want to earn tips. Number one is a clean car. Clean car. I wash my car every day. Every single day, this car gets washed, and maybe twice a week, the car gets cleaned on the inside, if it's not dirty. So that has that right there. When people started complimenting, oh, wow, you have such a clean car. I notice that I get tips from those people. Every person, or I shouldn't say every person, majority of the time, a person compliments me on my car, likelihood I get a tip. And that helped me a lot. So money makes money. So instead of pocketing that tip, spend that money cleaning the car. And then a car wash opened up next to my neighborhood, literally like 7 minutes from me. And there's a membership. It's $35 exterior and $45 interior, unlimited car washes monthly. It's a no-brainer. So I joined it and I go every single day. I finish work, and before I park my car in the driveway, it gets washed. And why I do that is because if next morning I wake up early, the car wash is not open. I don't want to start my day with a dirty car and have to, between, middle of the day, go and get a car washed. And then the car's wet, people roll down the window,
Yeah.
they smudge the windows. So those are the reasons. Yeah.
So, but from everything I'm hearing, you say you're truly treating this as a small business of yours, right?
You have to.
Because
You
just
have
like when you said, reinvesting the money that you're making off tips into the car wash, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that we reach or we try to reach, from new
Yeah.
drivers all the way to veterans, and I've seen this all
Yeah.
across the board, they do not reinvest because,
You-
they're just out there willy-nilly accepting trips, dirty cars. I'm a passenger on these platforms, and some of the cars that show up to pick me up are
Oh my
disgusting,
gosh.
really disgusting, right?
I don't know
So
how they go past inspection.
yeah, and so but you took this from your past experiences of being an entrepreneur or a businessman and applied pretty much the basic same rules to rideshare driving, which is
Absolutely.
which is commendable, but not only commendable, is very smart. So you said something in there that I want to hit on a little bit more.
Sure.
So to improve, on the platform as a top earner, right?
Hmm.
You can't just accept every trip that's thrown at you, right? You have to be some
No,
sort of a cherry picker, but as many
very
trips
much
as you
so.
have to do to earn those quests, which in some weeks, I know from my experiences over the last 7 years that they can comprise up to 40% of somebody's earnings for
Oh,
that week. And the
absolutely. Yeah.
variability factor is huge, right? So,
Yes.
so tell me a little bit about how you improve that part of your game. Obviously, when they're showing you the money, you drive. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a
Yes.
no-brainer, right? But when they're
Yes.
not showing you the money, what do you do, right? So that's the key to keep the earnings level.
So one thing is that, Uber always sends out the promotions for the following week. And instead of just hitting like sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up for all these different things, I go ahead and sign up, sign up, sign up. But the only reason I sign up is so I don't miss out on it if I am interested in it. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it. It's just that if things are looking out worse than it is, at least I can fall back to it. I don't really rely on it as much. The three consecutive pre-pandemic and pandemic were pretty strong numbers. You get three consecutive rides for like $15, $10. So what I had to do is I had to do math really quickly. $15, three rides, that's $5 a ride. I'll do it. And you really have to, you can't just focus on those three consecutive rides. What I had to do is do quick math because this is in the moment. There's surge going on. It's popping. And I sometimes I was like two consecutive rides into it, and it says your third ride is 40 minutes. I'm like, you know what? I'll sacrifice the $6 or I'll sacrifice the $10 and I'll stay in this $15 surge that will get me I'll pick up this $15 surge. I drive 10 minutes. I'll pick up another surge. Maybe it's $7, but it's already washed my consecutive. So there was a lot of times where I just sacrifice the consecutive. I'm too into it, and I'm like, you know what? It's not worth doing it because for some reason, Uber always the third one. They want to take you way out of the city. They want to take you an hour out. They want to take you 40 minutes out, or maybe it's 15 minutes out. But that's not the way traffic is flowing. It's 15 minutes out, but it's 40 minutes back in. So a lot of sacrifices on that. You really just have to just take a minute when you're signing up on those rides and already know in your head. I treat those consecutive rides, or used to, they don't do it anymore. I used to treat them as a surge. And does this surge override this surge? And then I figured, and then I discovered that you stack all these promotions, and boy, did we make a lot of money back
Yep.
then.
Yeah.
You know,
But
you
but
had,
but so I mean, that's what we say all the time, right? Stack
yeah,
everything, stack every possible penny you
absolutely.
can stack, because overall, in the bigger picture, they make a huge difference. It may not mean anything at that second, but overall, on a yearly basis, it makes a huge difference. So tell me, like, your typical day, right? I mean, how many hours are you out there? What hours are you out there? What shifts do you put in? And then when
Hmm.
you finish your shift, right? Because
Hmm.
you're pretty analytical from what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
What do you do? Like, what do you, because that $100 goal you had did not get you to the top earner position, right? Because your
no,
game improved so much to become a top earner in the country, right?
right,
So
right.
tell me, like, these three questions. Tell me a little bit about your typical day, right?
Hmm.
And when you wake up and when you get going and what you do, right? Second question is, you said 7 days a week, but then you also take off a whole bunch of time during
Yeah,
the year for vacation. So you have to make
seven
up
weeks.
when
Yeah,
you're working for
yeah,
that. And
yeah.
the third question is, like, you finish your shift, you come home, now you're doing your analyzing. What are you doing? Like, what are you talking? What are you saying to you?
So, so yeah, we're in my car, and right over here, right. I have my iPad. It comes in handy for a lot of reasons, and the reason I got it is because I had a lot of downtime. And instead of just sitting around and watching YouTube videos, I started entering data. And one of the apps that I actually use um, is is an app that keeps track of how much money I make. There's like a little chart on
Yeah.
how much it costs per miles. So this is your end of day. This is actually, I'm answering your third question first.
Okay.
So that's what I do. But let's go back to the first. Consistency, 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 consistency. Your body does not like waking up one day at 4 o'clock in the morning and the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning and the next day at back to 4 o'clock. So try to wake up consistently. Even if you're not making that much money 4 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday like you would on a Monday, you're still making money. You don't have to drive all over. Just make sure that you go into an area. Guess what? Every single day people have to do, they have to go to work. And you know who goes to work at 4 o'clock in the morning? Chefs,
Yep.
cooks, um, hospital people. These are the people that I really want to take. They're happy. They're the tippers. The morning people are where the tip is. It's not the afternoon. The afternoon they had a bad day.
Yeah.
So, so morning people likelihood gonna tip you the most out of all of them. So I'm very big advocate on morning before the rush. So my day consistency is number one. Start early in the morning. Figure out your location on which way your city flows in the morning. If they flow downtown or a certain suburb, and try to. If you don't live there, I don't live there. But you know what I do? I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I drive and I stage myself. So I have to drive 15, 20 minutes to stage myself to start accepting rides. Because if I accept rides where I live, it's going to take me further away from the city. And now I have to drive an hour into the city. So that's what I do. You wake up in the morning and stage yourself a little bit outskirts, just the borderline of the city, because likely someone's going to go to an area. We have in Chicago, we have an area called the West Loop, and that is the restaurant row, right? And those people have to go early in the morning because they got to start prepping everything for the omelets and all that. So get yourself in an area that you know that people are going to be waking up early in the morning to go work. Um, then rush hour starts. Going to start around 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way maybe sometimes into 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's when the surges start. And you don't want to. You have a small window to capitalize on that surges. So what you have to do is a lot of times nature calls, right? I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to start drinking coffee right when I wake up. An hour and a half later, I have to go use the restroom. I'm just about to use the restroom when surges are about to start. So you need to if you know surge is about to start, try to go somewhere, use the restroom, because it's game on. There's no minute off, no smoking breaks, no coffee sipping along, because that surge sometimes, especially if it's raining, that surge gets dragged out. Instead of being a 1 hour window, it becomes a 3 hour window, because some people can't afford Uber. So they're gonna try to hold on as long as they can before they go into work, but it's still surging. It's maybe not be $20 surge or a $15 surge. It's still a $3 or $4 surge, something that you normally would not get at that time of the hour. Usually you get no surge. So wake up in the morning, pay attention how your body works. How often do you have to go use the restroom? Because if your body um, uses, you process liquids faster or solids faster at a certain time, you want to maybe shift it, maybe reprogram your body, so you are out on the road and not stopped. And if the wheels are not turning, you're not making money.
Yeah, I mean,
Question number.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think you just the perfect example of the 3 Ps that I always tell drivers, right? Patience, position, and planning. So you're even planning when you go to the bathroom, right? You're even planning
absolutely.
but see, that's what made you so efficient, right? You try to squeeze every top dollar out of every hour that you're available.
You
As
have
opposed
to. You
as
have to.
opposed to willy-nilly, let me just drive, make my 100, go home, which is not true in most people's cases. So second,
It's
you were
not.
going to answer the second question.
What was the second question? Sorry about
Okay.
that,
Well,
Serge.
you work long hours, obviously, right?
Yes,
So
very long.
when
Yeah.
you wake up, how many hours you work on a day. So that was part of the second question. Like, when do you finish your shift? If you're up at 3,
Okay.
I mean, you have a 12-hour, clock on the Uber
Yeah.
app
Yeah.
that you can't go past 12 hours. So
Exactly.
are you out there literally 12 hours?
Sometimes yes, and most of the time now today, no. But if we're talking about how I earn that, yes, I did do 12 hours, and I broke them up into different. I broke up my sleep. I broke up my sleep because I knew that this was not going to last. This kind of money, you need to jump on the opportunity, and you know what, just tighten the belt and go through it, because those times that gravy train is going to come to a stop. I knew it. I knew it. So what I did is I started splitting up my sleeps: 4 hours in the 4 hours in the at night, and 4 hours in the afternoon. Sometimes I was able to do 12 hours through, sometimes I wasn't, but I still have the consistency of waking up early in the morning, because that's where the money was. Again, the tipping portion is in the morning. So, um, what I did is I did the morning rush. I didn't care how busy it was. Let's say my cutoff point was 11 o'clock in the morning. That's it. I need to be home by 12 o'clock in the afternoon, take a nap, and wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm ready to tackle the second half of the rush. And that's the rush hour. But the rush hour also leads into dinner rush. So now I'm able to ping pong back and forth and get surges. Instead of having from one area the surge going into an area that doesn't have surge, I'm bouncing back and forth from surge to surge, because some people are going home, some people are going to eat. So I split up my sleep: 4 hours in the evening, 4 hours in the middle of the day. And that I did that for throughout the whole time that the pandemic was, just
So,
because
but
people weren't out.
yeah, I mean, but a lot of people that are going to watch this, they're going to say this guy
Yeah,
doesn't have a life, because that's always we hear, right? That's all we hear
sure.
from drivers:
Yeah,
complain, complain, complain.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I completely disagree with that, because what happened is that you set your goals, you
yep,
achieved your goals, right? In order to do
yep,
that, you have to sacrifice. So, with
yep,
your permission, obviously, within the article, with including your
yeah,
1099K and 1099
absolutely.
NC that you received from Uber. So
Yeah,
people, this gentleman here put the hours in, but he made more money than an accountant or a doctor or a lawyer would make, okay, in 1 year. And you guys have to go read the article, because I don't want to say it on
sure.
air what he made, but he's well into 6 figures. Okay. So you guys will
Yeah,
figure that out when you guys look at the article with the
yeah,
screenshots of his personal 1099s. So we have a few
yep,
minutes left. I wasn't gonna ask this to a lot of drivers that I speak to, but do the
Yeah.
interviews with, but I'm going to do it because it's current, right? You know, we can
Yes.
live in the past all we want, but that's not
Hmm.
what we're facing today, right? And we
Hmm.
all know Chicago, LA, many cities have
Hmm.
upfront pricing now, right? What are you experiencing? Are your earnings down quite a bit
Significantly
from
down.
significantly down, right? Is it just
Significant.
because upfront earnings, or is it because demand is also down and then you're seeing a massive oversaturation of drivers?
Massive oversaturation of drivers, and a little bit, we're going into this. I don't know if it's a recession or not. We're going into an uncharted territory in times where prices are through the roof, and there's a lot more people driving out there to make ends meet. They may not be treating this as a career. They just need that extra supplemental income to pay the electric bill or buy a dozen of eggs right now. So a saturation of the drivers, and the saturation of the drivers has brought down the cost of rides. I'm doing $3 rides, a lot of $3 rides, but it's okay because um, I used to make around on a bad week, I used to make around $3,000. On a good week, I used to make about $4,600 on Ubering. I tried to hit 5,000, but didn't. Now I'm making on a bad week, well, I can make $0. But let's say if I work really hard, I'll probably on the low end, I'll make $1,700 a week. And consistently, I'm making 2,000. So my goal is to make $250 net, and I'm not, and then with the $250 is my net, but, and that's where it says net fare, but then it has the promotions and then it has the tips. A lot of times every day I'll hit that $300 mark, and that
Yeah.
puts me over that two, where the Uber app is showing me, I want that to show 2,000. By the time I bring everything down with net, I'll probably be like 1,750.
So, but
Yeah.
even if your earnings are down, right, you're still
Yeah.
applying the same model that made you super successful when
Yes.
things were hot, right?
Oh
You're
yeah.
not because it's like don't fix it if it ain't broke, right?
Don't
So
think you're
you're
right.
doing
Tweak
exactly
it,
what,
tweak it, tweak
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Little
yeah.
things. Don't make any drastic moves, because if you make drastic moves, you won't. There's too many moving parts, and you don't know which one is broken. So
Yeah.
always just tweak a little bit.
Great advice. Now, last couple of minutes that we have,
Yeah.
obviously you've been doing this for 4 years now, right? And you've been super
Yep.
successful, and you're still following the model that made you successful. You're sticking to it,
Yes.
which is fine. You're driving less, obviously, right? But
Yes.
with all the money you made, let's say, right, on a net basis, after your taxes
Yes.
and stuff, and obviously you know your numbers. So
Yes.
you hopefully saved your money. Do you have any
Yes.
plans? Are you going to continue driving, or is there a plan B or C or retirement, or what do you give us this
Oh,
snapshot
geez.
of
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
looking forward to the next couple?
Well, it's almost like you love somebody and they don't love you back, and you almost like you have to say goodbye. And I'm realistic about it. If it's gonna keep going that direction, if I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna, again, right now we're in a very unique situation where a lot of people are getting laid off, a lot of gig workers, tech workers, and they're picking up Ubering as part-time. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more and see how it goes. But if I'm not able to hit that $2,000 or $250 daily goal, I am gonna have to say goodbye. What I'm gonna do, I have no idea. I always figure something out. I'm an extrovert, so I have good communication skills. I'm able to, I'll figure something out. I could do many, there's so many. I'll maybe go into I was an electrician, maybe go back into that, or I just don't want corporate world. That's why I was doing it. I wanted the freedom, but freedom comes with a cost, so
Yeah,
um
there's
I
nothing free, right? There's nothing free in this
nothing,
world. You
no,
put in the
absolutely
work, you
not.
got your
Yeah,
rewards. The rewards are
absolutely.
less now. We all know what's happening throughout the country, but you're sticking to your plan, and
Yeah,
then but you're also realistic that
yeah,
you have to stop if it's not making any financial sense, right? So a lot of
yeah,
people do it and they continue doing the same thing, expecting different results, which is in my world is insanity, right?
yeah,
You stop your insanity, you improved your game, you got to the top of your game, and now
Yeah.
maybe time to exit and do some other things. But
Yeah.
I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to
Oh,
you.
you're very welcome.
And I'm sure we're going to stay in touch for as long as we know anything about Uber, and
Yeah.
give advice to our viewers. And
Sure.
hopefully, we'll keep in touch. And the
Yeah.
best of luck, and be safe out there.
And time to time, I'll send you some screenshots. I sent you one this morning. I started my Monday pretty strong. So I
Yep.
don't know if you got to see that,
I
but
haven't seen it yet. I get so many emails from so many
oh,
drivers with
it's
screenshots.
I texted it to you, so
Oh, okay.
it's pretty impressive.
All
So
right.
if you take a look at it, it's only 3 rides, 3 hours, but you'll be like, wow.
All right.
So that's why it's important to just pay attention what you're doing and try to if it doesn't work, get out of it because it's costing you money. So
All right. Great
do something
advice.
else.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And
Oh,
then
you're very
we'll see,
welcome.
we'll see you soon.
All right. And I'll be watching the show. I love this show. All right, guys.
Thank
Take
you.
care.